Welcome back to Let's Talk Racism Ireland. I'm your host, Harrison Paul, and today we're going to talk about the second video of the day. So we're going to talk about Rishi Sunak. And we're going to talk about the concept of reverse racism and how flawed and false it is. Let's start off by just playing you the videos for you to see this. This is cool. Check out what he said. But little disclaimer, I'm so frustrated. Let me just get into it first. I could say a lot.
The Prime Minister's criticised the production after it announced they'd be staging some shows for black audiences only. Slave Play on London's West End will host 2 blackout performances, which the production team say are for an all-black identifying audience. The show explores race, identity and sexuality in 21st century America. They say it's to increase accessibility to theatre for all, and said no one will be prevented or excluded from attending any performance. A spokesperson for Rishi Sunak said restricting audience on the basis of race would be wrong, but a statement from the show denied that this was the case. The dates for these shows haven't yet been announced.
Now, why I'm so frustrated with this, right, is because plenty of times Rishi has dodged the topic of racism. He dodged it. Just last week, I'll put up on the screen for you guys to see, he said, I am proof that England is not a racist country. Just dodges it. And now he has the audacity to bring up race. It is so frustrating. But anyway, Uncle Tom's will be Uncle Tom's. We can't really get ourselves into that too much. But check this out. I wanted to talk about the concept of reverse racism. And not because I believe that reverse racism, not because I want white people to know, understand, no. I want you, African, to understand what reverse racism is, or rather, how to debunk that in your mind. Because someone had left here in the comments, and I'm gonna read out the comments for you. Someone left in the comments. If the other way around, they would hit the bloody race button faster than you can spell it, right? And I've been seeing this. If it was us. Listen, black people. We are talking about a race that is coming back for not even being considered a full human being. There are remnants, residue in our society from, yes, I can admit, those more radical times. So you're on society, realistically, this is factual. It's on its way back from actually considering the African as a human being. It's actually on its way back from even considering the African as a human being. I'm going to put some tweets on the screen for you guys to see these tweets. This tweet is a black man in Ireland who was actually jailed by an Irish judge for saying that he was an Irishman, because he was born in Ireland. This was back in those times. And he was so insulted that this non-human identified himself as from his home country. And this Irish American judge jailed this man. And I'm going to pop up on the screen a few other moments here. Like I said, again, Liam Hogan, I'm always going to be pulling from that guy. Honestly, thank you so much. I'm going to say it 10,000 times. So when we look at a society that we're living in today, and he even had something great I got to put up on the screen for you. Actually, you know what? Because I can pull it up right now, and we're very liberal on this page and not so rigid, I can actually read out this thing for you, because this is quite amazing. Many of our ancestors used black people as their slaves in the colonies, while some of our leaders have historically used the reality of racial slavery to embellish their arguments or rhetoric. The enchantment of millions of people reduced to a mere figurative usefulness. People of my parents' generation still use phrases like, I was working like a black, or we were working like niggeors. Usually meaning being overworked for little or no pay or acknowledgement, forgotten about, exploited. This tells us that slavery, blackness, and social invisibility are unconsciously associated in their minds, even though they may know little of the history of Ireland in the Black Atlantic. This speaks volumes as this history remains relatively absent in our education system. Ireland, your education system has let you down. Thank you for that, Liam Hogan. Beautiful segment. But what I'm trying to say is this. The African is on his way back to actually being a human being. So when you see different things are done to illuminate or to highlight or to bring importance or to bring light or to try give strength, because we understand that black people are still suffering in workplaces, being, how do I say it, discriminated against all over the country, all over these countries, all over Western countries. It's not your reality. It's not their reality. It's our reality. So we are trying to reinforce. We see the remnant. We see the residue of all of these times. And we are trying to reinforce, remember this is a human being. I know that you may think it in the front of your mind, but in the subconscious mind of society, I don't think we have registered it in how nuanced that is and how dynamic that is in all circumstances, in inconvenient circumstances. Not just when it's easy to greet your black neighbor or be nice to somebody. Meaning when a black person deserves the role over a white person. So people feel like affirmative action is racist. Affirmative action became because there was a time where white people would pick their own people without considering a black person, because that is what felt most comfortable to them, regardless of what was actually on the resume. We have situations where black people can look for an evaluation on their home, and because it's a black person that lived in the home, it will be valued at a lower price. So these are real situations here. We have situations where a black person is trying to buy a home and he puts his surname there and he doesn't get the home. Experiments where people have them put a white name and figured out the person said, oh yes, no, the house is still up for sale. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when we look at all these statistics, just because black person, listen to me, your life, your tiny little aspect, your individual situations is livable, does not mean on a macro scale we are not undergoing real problems and discrimination as a community. So when you think about, oh, listen, I don't want to make a white person feel uncomfortable in their white fragility, and you want to nullify the work that still has to be done, because in your micro little individual life, you have found that there may be white people who are nice to you, might get a few bad ones, but who cares about them? There are black people who still find themselves in terrible situations of discrimination. On a macro scale, the numbers are still unacceptable. Black women being 4 times more likely to die from childbirth. You don't care because that's not your wife, brother. But there's someone right now who's raising a woman, raising a daughter, a boy, a son without their mother. I just saw recently in UK, I'll put up on the screen, a black woman, I think she passed or almost passed due to discrimination of care after pregnancy. There are real situations happening. And if we are a society that claims we are all so appalled that we just came from the Jim Crows and these slavery times, then this is absolutely a terrible way of showing it. If 2024 institutions are still looking the way that they're looking. If everyone was so like, yeah, we know slavery and all that was terrible. We're over it. Let's not look back. Obviously, that is not the tune that everyone is singing simultaneously. So I hate when people like Rishi Sunak, but we all know he is a puppet. He's being used to say, I am proof. You weren't even elected, mate. Relax. You know what I'm saying? But, brothers, don't allow white society to guilt trip you or trick you out of actually believing that we have a problem in our society in order for you to get by, to get on and get by. There is no such thing as reverse racism. We are affirming a race that once was less than human, and we have not finished the job yet. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.
And I'm on a mission for you.